Hey everyone, and welcome to the Rumcast, a very special episode, addendum episode you might say, of the Rumcast, where Will and John here with you as always, but also joined again by Arminder from the Rum Revival to go over the results of this contest that we had a few weeks ago, the Rumcast Fantasy Rum Draft for 2024. Will, I'm excited to go over these. Arminder, I'm sure you're excited also.
I'm very excited.
We're going to do something a little different than past reveals of the results. This is its own little mini episode. We'll have a full episode coming out in a couple of days, kind of as scheduled, just a few days late. But instead of just telling you who won right away, we're going to go through each category and reveal which rum won and whose rum that was. So you can kind of like have a little suspense along the way. Yeah. Like, oh, John's in the lead. Oh, now Arminder's in the lead. Oh, now Will's in the lead. You know, who knows how it could end up. Then at
John
the
could
end,
just stay in the lead the whole time.
Maybe so. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't really done this exercise. It's been a few days, but okay. So are we ready to just jump in and go through these?
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
I promise not to refer to myself in the third person again this episode.
I'm going to hold you to that. Okay. So first category. And just as a reminder to everyone, this is our annual Fantasy Rum Draft contest. If you didn't listen to the previous episode, this is the rare case where I would say, like, this episode will mean not much to you if you didn't listen to that one. So go check it out. We explain the concept there of it and everything. So if you're feeling a little lost right now, that's the place to go. But having said that, let's jump into the winning picks. So first category, unaged rum. We had John's pick of Money Musk Overproof going up against Arminder's pick of Worthy Park Overproof versus my pick, my somewhat contentious pick of the Hampden 8 Marks Collection.
Did you hear the inflection that he said that with, Arminder, just now?
Oh, yeah.
My pick. It was very like snooty, like, oh, I pulled this off.
I'm just saying this pick kind of stirred some conversation. I actually set aside a few comments, which I'll read in just a moment. So the results here, an overwhelming 61.6% selected my own 8 Marks Collection pick as the winner, with Arminder's Worthy Park Overproof coming up in second with 34.9%, and John's Money Musk Overproof coming in with, this might be the smallest total. Well, I mean, we have 3 people this year, 3.5% of the vote. So there's a shout out to the few freaks out there who went with the Money Musk Overproof pick right there.
Hold on. I just want to say, for the record here, before we move to the next category, that this was strategic in two senses, right? One, I didn't think I was going to win this category.
Yes,
when you picked the Hampden 8 Marks, I was like, I'm done. So I don't need to go for this category. But at the same time, I will say I wanted to pick something for my bar that felt like I could be in contention for best bar. So I wasn't just going to go with some BS either.
Right.
So really, at the end of the day, this was. And by the way, I will say, Arminder, you stole my pick here. I was going to want the Worthy Park Overproof. So you absolutely took this right from me at the beginning of the draft, and it already put me in a bad place.
Sorry, bud, but it wouldn't have mattered either way because 61.6% of the people voted for Will.
So I paid dearly for this one, but it did pay off for this category.
It did.
I will say, John, what you mentioned about kind of punting the category, but still selecting something that you believe in and that brings balance to your bar. I had to do that myself in a couple of categories because of this pick. So we'll get to that in a little bit. But I wanted to quickly, this was kind of a controversial selection. We had a few commenters who were fans of it. We had a few who were not fans of it. We'll start with the negative, which was Paul on YouTube, who said, I did actually boo my phone at the Hampden 8 Marks shenanigans. The voters cannot let this stand. Sorry to tell you, Paul, but they did let it stand. A couple more.
I'm with you, Paul.
Comments that came in via the voting system. The 8 Mark pick was a chess move in this game of three-way checkers. Bam, dropping bars with that one.
Can I say, when I read that comment, you know who I thought, because we don't know who left that comment, or most of these comments, right? Unless you actually write your name. I totally read that in the voice of Lance. I was like, that sounds like something Lance would say. You know
it
what I mean?
does sound Lance-ish, yeah.
That does sound like the Lone Caner. We'll have to find out. Lance, let us know if that was you. And then there was another one where it said, I had the Money Musk OP in hand the day before I listened and put it down, but no way it would have overcome the 8 Marks Gambit. Truly an honor to hear the Kasparov of Rum Fantasy Draft at work. So
another chess reference there.
Wow.
Yeah. I don't play chess, but I will take those references. With a smile on my face.
I wonder if there's a big overlap between the chess world and the rum world.
Maybe so. I don't know, but
yeah. I just want to say I want to give you shit for this so bad, Will, but I also recognize that it was I'm impressed you pulled it off in the way that you did. I figured it was going to hurt you more than it actually did. So I'll give you that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's not reveal too much. Coming up next, lightly aged rum category. This was another landslide one, which I can't say I was surprised by. I knew as soon as this rum was selected, it was going to win. That was Smith & Cross. John's selection of Smith & Cross with a whopping 52% of the vote. Coming in second, we had Arminder with the Rum GM Terroir Volcanique, and then me with the piddling 9.9% with my Karuba Dark Jamaican, which is very similar to your last selection, John. I knew I wasn't going to win the category, but it's a rum that I love and goes well in a lot of cocktails, so I wanted to have it. So there you have it.
I was surprised by this because I thought Smith & Cross, yes, I understand it's very popular, but I assumed that the voters would primarily lean in the direction of sippers, neat sippers, as opposed to cocktail folk. Include that. Now, I mean, obviously, the Terroir Volcanique is probably does great in cocktails, but I felt like if we're talking sipping, that had the edge. But clearly, I was wrong.
I think I'd have them kind of in the same category as sippers. I think they both sip pretty well. I like Smith & Cross neat, or with a little ice cube perhaps. But I don't know, John. What were you thinking?
Yeah, I'm surprised it was as dominant as it was over the GM Terroir. However, I'm not surprised that it won. I mean, I picked it, first and foremost for a reason. I thought it was going to rule the category just based on its overall reputation is the word I'm looking for. Its overall reputation is, for a desert island, it's hard to do better than that. I think this is one rum that I don't remember if we snoozed this one or if it's going to be retired now.
No, this was its first. This was its debut. Okay. Yeah, the people were begging for Smith & Cross. They were ready for it.
Yeah, I put this on the par with the Probitas and
Me too.
And the Rum Fire, with how, if there really was no limitations, this would most likely come up a lot of times on a deserted island bar. Yep. So I'm not surprised from that aspect.
Also, can we talk about, is it a deserted island or is it a desert island? Because the desert island doesn't kind of really make sense, but that's what I've been saying.
I've been saying that
desert
too.
Island could make sense.
I thought they were the same thing. Whenever I said desert island, I just imagined, like a Lost situation where it's a tropical paradise and no one else is there. I guess that's
a deserted island. A desert island is a desert like Sahara.
Are there many desert islands though?
Yeah, that's
where it's a desert.
I don't know. Somebody that is better at this stuff, please let us know.
If we had more time, I would Google this right now, but let's keep it moving. That's an astute observation, Arminder. Okay, we have our first aged rum category now. This was by far, and we knew going into this that this was a great three-way matchup on here, and the results, I think the most balanced results of the whole competition. We had RL Seal 12-year on the menu, we had El Dorado 12 on the menu, and we had Chairman's Reserve Legacy on the menu. And Chairman's Reserve Legacy, which was John's pick, ended up taking the crown with 35.7% of the vote. Arminder's pick of RL Steel 12-year came in second with 32.9%, and then my pick of El Dorado 12 just a hair behind Arminder's with 31.3%. And I'm kind of annoyed, even though it doesn't matter which one comes in second, but El Dorado 12 was in second for so long, and then over the last 48 hours, there was just this wave of RL Steel 12 votes, and I was like, what the hell? I thought maybe I would challenge John, and then I got, kind of just taken out of the picture.
You got smacked down into your place where
I know, yeah. I will say, by the way, what I'm enjoying right now, I'm picking from my Rumcast Fantasy Draft bar. This is El Dorado 12 with a little bit of 8 Marks LFCH added to it. And you know what? It works beautifully.
Okay.
Ounce and a half El Dorado 12, quarter ounce LFCH. It's really nice.
Nice. we knew this category was going to be tight. I think we had predicted that when we were going through the draft, and I'm glad they lined up this way, because to me this was one of the most interesting to see how it shook out. I really had no idea going in where was this going to go. That said, I'm glad the Chairman's Reserve pick came through for me. For those of you keeping score right now, that puts me in the lead. But it is interesting to see just these three rums are nothing really alike each other, but had to compete. And I found that to be supremely interesting to start with.
Yeah, for like a non-age statement rum to kind of hold its own against 12 years.
Right.
That's awesome.
That's a good, right. Yeah, that's a great observation. And I believe Chairman's Reserve Legacy will be snoozed now, because I picked that in the previous draft, and I think it won that time too. So, I can't deny it's a great rum. I picked it last year. It's fabulous. So a deserved winner there. Okay, aged rum, second category. And this is the one where we put like our more expensive aged rums. We had Foursquare 2011. That was John's pick, I believe, going up against Worthy Park Estate Reserve, which was my pick. And then we had Arminder's pick of El Dorado Port Morant Cask Strength Single Still Edition. And this is where Arminder gets on the board. So he actually, I was kind of surprised that Foursquare 2011 didn't have a better showing here. 48.8% of the vote to Arminder's El Dorado pick. And then we had Foursquare 2011 with 32.3% of the vote, and then my Worthy Park pick with 19% of the vote. Not too surprised that came in third here, but I was interested to see in the Foursquare El Dorado showdown, and that single still cask strength. People love Port Morant, and it won this category handily.
Yeah, I didn't expect. I think even when I picked it, I might have said something to the extent of like, I don't think people are as big of fans of the El Dorado expression of it as opposed to like some independent bottlings and stuff like that. People obviously Port Morant is great, but I think people tend to prefer the IBs. So I didn't expect it to dominate as much as it did.
It was
Same here.
I
I thought the Foursquare 2011 would represent a little bit closer, if not win the category. I honestly felt I had a chance to win this one, and it really wasn't close. But I do think, you can't separate it from the whole context. And I know that there's another Foursquare pick we're going to talk about in the next category, and that might have affected some of it because, you're thinking about this as a holistic bar. Yes, you're ranking them independently, but it's really hard to just say, I'm only going to look at just this category and not anything else. And so I think that could have possibly affected it. Not to mention people who listened to the podcast as the draft went on also know that there was another Foursquare pick because they're listening to the draft picks. So I wonder if that played a part in it, knowing that was the case or not. It could be, wrong. I would love to hear some comments on that. But yeah, I was a little surprised to see that this one came in a lot lower than the El Dorado in this case. I really felt like, man, this is one I hoped I had won the category with.
Yeah, I would have been pissed in your shoes, John. And I like your Foursquare fatigue theory, though, because if it's correct, that means that my pick caused you to lose that pick as well, which is kind of funny. So,
by the way, before you move on to that, I was going to say you mentioned second place, so I'm squarely in second place here. And I wonder if in the future, if we were to do this, would we rank things in terms of points? If you get 3 points for being in first place, 2 points for second place, and 1 point for third place, where that might have shifted things in terms of the overall result. I don't know, just something to think about.
All right, yeah, we'll keep that under our thinking caps. Maybe we can revisit that at the end of the episode. Okay, so long-aged rum category. This one, as John alluded to, had another Foursquare pick, Foursquare Equipoise. That was my pick in this case. Isaudier 16-year cane juice rum, that was Arminder's pick. And then the Homesky single cask Guyana rum, the iFlot 2003, that was John's pick. Taking this category, as John alluded to, this was Foursquare's time to shine. Foursquare Equipoise with 38.2% of the vote. Coming in second was John's selection, the Homesky Guyana with 32.5%. And then Arminder's Isaudier pick, which I selected last year, or maybe John did. I always forget. It's an excellent
I think it was
rum.
me.
Yeah, 29.3% of the vote. So this one was like pretty close. Not quite as close as that first aged rum category, but this one was pretty balanced. But Foursquare took the day at the end of this. And this was one of the ones where I was like, I'm pretty sure I got this. But I wasn't expecting it to be a landslide. So it kind of played out how I thought it would, I think.
Yeah. I mean, my comment here is I really expected to be in contention for a win here also. and so it came up a little bit short. I'm not entirely surprised because I feel like, Will, you're playing this pick off of a recency bias in a way.
The draft is over. You don't have to shit on my picks more now. They're already they're already dead.
I'm just saying you did a good job, is what I'm trying to give you credit for.
Oh, thank you.
By pushing into what I think the new hotness is right now. Right?
New hotness.
Yes.
Okay.
2011 just feels like an extension of the series, the vintage series. Whereas Equipoise was new, it was Calvados. Yeah. It was like kind of making waves, and I think you just kind of grabbed onto that. So I'm giving you props for having done it and used that to vault yourself to a win in this category.
Thank you, sir. So, for those keeping score, that means I've got 2 categories at this point. John has 2. Arminder has 1. Let's see how the rest of this plays out, starting with the unaged cane juice rum category, which is actually, this was our most lopsided result of all, much, I'm guessing, to the chagrin of our special guest, Arminder, who desperately wanted to select the rum that I took, which was Clairin Sajouse. Arminder selected Clairin Le Rocher, and John selected Rum Boulogne Blanc. 62.4% Clairin Sajouse, 23.6% for Le Rocher, and 14% for Rum Boulogne Blanc. 62% is pretty high, but I will say I was expecting to win this. Although, Arminder, when you selected another Clairin, I was a little bit nervous, just in, what if he splits the vote, that kind of thing. Right. But at the end of the day, I think sanity prevailed here, and Clairin Sajouse is the winner.
I mean, obviously, I think that one has like the mind share when people think of Clairin. Like that's the one, and like I've said, like other folks have said, it's fantastic. It's my favorite kind of thing. So I did expect it to win by this much, though. That's a whole different thing. Someone left a comment though saying, I don't know the exact phrasing here. But damn you guys for making me pick between Le Rocher and Sajouse.
I have it here. It was actually fuck you guys in the most loving way possible for making me choose between Le Rocher and Sajouse, not to mention Hampton 8 and Rivers. Also, this is the only fantasy league that matters. Cheers.
Good comment.
Yeah. Oh, man.
This is the one regret I think I might have. Maybe more. I don't remember. But I regret that I didn't just go with Clairin Vival just to make it a 3-way Clairin.
Oh, that would have been so fun. Yeah.
And why I didn't is because I think Clairin Vival is ranked 3rd in my mind of the 3. So I just couldn't go against that and pick something. I felt like Boulogne is a better rum for me. And hell, I'm staying true to myself and my own thoughts with it. So that's where I went with it and got creamed in this category. So, yeah.
All right. So that was unaged cane juice. We're 3-2-1 now. Me with 3, John with 2, Arminder with 1. Aged cane juice rum. Let's see what happens. We had John drafting Papaline Haiti 4-year. We had myself drafting Rum GM VO, the soon-to-be or already, I guess, discontinued Rum GM VO in the U.S., that is. And then Arminder coming in with the Nissan Elevée sous bois, which won this category handily with 48% of the vote. Rum GM VO coming in second with distant 28.2, and then Papaline Haiti a little bit below at 23.8%. So I'm never going to say I was surprised that Nissan wins the category because I love Nissan. But yeah, I wasn't expecting this one to be won so handily. I kind of thought Papaline Haiti might edge one out, being the highest proof of all of them. But Arminder, what do you have to say about this as the winner of the category?
I knew it was going to win, and I knew it was going to win by a lot. I feel like
wow.
The other 2 rums, I'm not the biggest fans of, even as someone who loves the Clairins. And I don't know. I didn't think the community really was into the Papaline Haiti as much.
Okay, that's
maybe the circles that I travel.
That's an interesting point because I feel the same way as you, but I feel like I've been like on an island with that take.
No pun intended.
I guess the people that I've been exposed to are all the fans of it. John's a huge fan of it, and I
love it.
I own a bottle of it. I haven't been able to get into it. So hearing you say that makes me feel better. So yeah.
I'm not the only one that loves it. I've heard from many other people that the Papaline is very popular, but maybe it's divisive, Arminder, to your point, and that's why it didn't rule the category.
Multi-country blend category. Another fairly, at least balanced between 2 of them, with, I guess, a distant third. But here we had Arminder drafting Denizen Merchants Reserve for the second time in the history of the Rum Rumcast Fantasy Rum Draft. I believe I drafted that last year. John with Hamilton Beach Bum Berry Zombie Blend, which I also drafted last year. Interesting. You guys are just kind of picking off my previous picks.
I mean, you did win, so yeah.
And then we had my pick of Transcontinental Rum Line High Seas, kind of the newcomer to the category, which may be where it struggled. That I came in last with 26% of the vote. John with Hamilton Beach Bum Berry Zombie Blend came in second with 36%, and Arminder with 38% of the vote for Denizen Merchants Reserve just edges out John here. Oh, I can tell this was a frustrating one.
Sorry.
Do you guys know that Kevin Sorbo as Hercules disappointed meme? Have you ever seen that? Because that's me right now. Disappointed.
Were you planning on like going with the Denizen too, or was it just that you were always going to be all in on the Zombie Blend?
No, honestly, I wasn't all in on the Zombie Blend. I was all in on Hamilton beating that category.
Yeah, okay.
I really felt like the Hamilton name would have taken it. I know the Transcon was a good pick. I know that Denizens is a good rum. I figured something about, and maybe I picked the wrong Hamilton here. You know, maybe there was a better Hamilton, and that's on me, if so. But I went with ABV. I went with something that I thought is a good rum. It's very specialized, so maybe that hurt it, you know, being that it's intended for zombies, although it can be used for other things. But yeah, I'm just came up short.
Well, you know, if it makes you feel any better, up until a couple of days ago, I actually thought I had selected the High Seas, so I thought I was losing this category. So, you know.
Wait, did I say that you picked that? I think I might have had it backwards. I think maybe I drafted Merchants Reserve. No. I stand by High. I think High Seas is a fabulous rum. And these are all great rums, so I can't really, besmirch any of them. But I'd absolutely have High Seas on the same tier. It's a different style of rum than those. Obviously, the Zombie Blend is more bombastic. Merchants Reserve, I think, has some older rum in it. It's got the Mai Tai application. Mine's kind of an all-purpose mixing rum, but it's a really good one. So I'd encourage people to try it if you haven't yet. Pick up a bottle. I don't think you'll regret picking it up. But moving on. Our next pick. By the way, Arminder coming roaring back now.
Yeah.
Tied with me, 3-3, and John, you have 2 at this point, I believe. Keeping it close. Let's see what happens. Best pick non-Caribbean rum category. This one we had John drafting Transcontinental Rum Line Australia 2014. We had Arminder drafting Holmes Key Reunion Island Grand Arome. And we had myself with another Holmes Key pick, the Holmes Key Fiji Single Origin pick, which of course is near and dear to the Rumcast. This one hurt me. John, you were kind of groaning through the last one. This was my groaning one. Arminder won this one pretty convincingly. 45.2% of the vote for the Holmes Key Reunion Grand Arome. I came in second, 38.3% with the Holmes Key Fiji Single Origin, and then John, your TCRL Australia 2014, 16.5% of the vote. So this was one that, as I said, it hurt me just because that Fiji rum, I guess because, it kind of came together a little bit because of the Rumcast. So it has some sentimental value for me, but I also just really love that rum. And I think it's really unique. And obviously, the Grand Arome packs a punch. I know 57.5% ABV. So I get it. This is the one category that I'm a little bitter about, but I'll turn it over to you, Arminder, to give a little victory speech for this category.
Well, I actually thought this is my pick that I was going to lose for sure. I just didn't think, and I think I may have said that, like, I love the rum, but it's so out there. I felt like that I didn't think people, I did say, like, I do think there's like a segment of folks that are into it, but I didn't think 45% of the folks would actually be into it. I totally thought this was something I picked from the heart, but knew that it wasn't going to be a win for me.
Right. Yeah. That's actually a really good point, in the sense of, like, we got 257 responses for this, which is pretty great, by the way. It's the most we've ever received. But it is a small slice of, if you start to broaden that, I wonder how this starts to shift and change if we get into thousands of rum lovers as opposed to hundreds of.
I think you had a good point there, Arminder. I saw it as kind of a more divisive rum. The fans love it, and I like it a lot too. It's a great rum, but there's some people I think that's a little bit out there for it. But anyway,
for sure.
Congrats on that win. That was a big one.
Thank you.
Coming up next, we have the 100% column still rum category and then the 100% pot still category. And those are the only two. So it comes down to this, really. Arminder's got 4 right now. I've got 3. John, you've got 2. Am I tallying that correctly? Okay, so. 100% column still rum. We had some funny responses to this as well. I selected the Don Q Gran Reserva Añejo XO. Arminder had the Ron del Barrilito 3-star. And John had the Rum GM Jardin Fruit for this one. And John's pick took the category handily. 44.7% of the vote. Yeah. Arminder coming in second with 30.1% for the Ron del Barrilito 3-star. And myself, sadly, coming in last, 25.2% for the Don Q Gran Reserva Añejo XO. Although, quickly, I do have to shout out, and we'll link to this in the show notes. One of my favorite things that came out of this was one of our patrons, you will know him as the Auditor Reviews, did a Rumcast Fantasy Draft grades post, which was amazing. He shared it in our patrons Discord. We'll link to it in the show notes. And he actually gave me credit for this one. Even though it came in last, he selected the Don Q Gran Reserva Añejo XO. We got some divisive Don Q responses. I know, Arminder, you had your own kind of blanching reaction to John and I arguing over Don Q, and you said, why do you guys care? Don Q sucks, basically. But
that's what I heard.
John, you did take this category. Were you surprised at how much you won this category by?
A little bit. I started to understand and rationalize that, I think you mentioned it on our last Discord, Will, for the Rumcast, that this category is problematic because it's 100% column still, but 100% column still is a broad range, right? And Arminder, you had joined us for that Discord. I said Discord, but I meant happy hour discussion.
Yeah.
So the happy hour discussion that we do once a month, Arminder and Will were both talking about how this category is tough because you have the, kind of Spanish country rums, for lack of a better term, and then you have the Martinique and the Agricoles, who also are column still, but they're very different. And so the strategy here was, seeing that you guys had both picked that, I felt pretty confident that I would have at least a pretty good shot at picking an Agricole to go against them, which is both exploitative, I guess is the right word.
It's strategic. It's strategic.
Yes.
I don't fault you.
But I do recognize that makes the category problematic and something we need to look into in the future. So I'm not surprised it won. I am surprised it won a little bit handily in the way that it did.
I did want to read a couple of comments. We had one commenter through the voting forum say, "Stop the Don Q hate, Arminder," and then a little sad emoji face, and that's kind of how I felt too. But on YouTube, Yin and Yang here, we had Mr. Psyman who said, "Arguing over Don Q is like arguing over McDonald's and Burger King, LOL." So just goes to show the agony and the ecstasy of Don Q reactions there. So, all right, so John, you're at 3. I'm at 3.
Yep.
Arminder is at 4, and we have one category left, which means either Arminder's going to win or there's going to be a tie.
Yeah.
At which point it will go to the tiebreaker of best overall rum bar. So let's see what happens. All right, 100% pot still rum category. We had Hampton Estate 8-year from Arminder. We had John's first overall pick in the draft, Rivers Royale Grenadian Rum. And then we had mine, which I'll just say right now was me punting this category because my budget was in shambles. Although it's a great rum. Rum Bar Silver. And Rum Bar Silver, spoiler alert, did not win this category, as I'm sure most people know. Although 12.6% of people did vote for it. So, thank you to you, 12.6% of people. Coming in second was Mr. John Gullah with the Rivers Royale Grenadian Rum, which means that Arminder from the Rum Revival with 53.5% Hampton Estate 8-year takes the crown Rumcast 2024 Fantasy Rum Draft champion. The tiebreakers don't even matter, although spoiler alert, Arminder kicked our asses in those, which we'll talk about in a second, but let's give it up for the champion right here with 5 of the categories to John and I's 3. Arminder, victory speech time. Tell the people what's on your mind.
Oh boy. Well, first of all, I'd like to thank the Academy. I've always wanted to say that. Finally got the opportunity to actually say that. That's awesome. Want to thank the voters. Obviously, I am honored and humbled that you would pick me for many of these categories. Thank you. I want to thank my mom for always believing in me since I was a little kid. You know, she had me drinking at a very young age, and it finally paid off. Finally paid off.
5-star parenting.
Hope the statute of limitations is passed on that. Okay.
I want to thank my wife for letting me do the podcast on that Sunday, because typically on Sundays we do a lot of like heavy day drinking at various bars in the area. So she had to sacrifice that for me to do this, you know? So, hey, babe, it was totally worth it.
She hasn't found out about the cash prize yet, so wait until she hears that.
And of course, I want to thank my fellow nominees, my fellow contestants, John and Will, thank you for having me on the podcast. And look, it could have easily have gone to either one of you had you had better picks.
Agreed.
Simple as that.
That was beautiful.
Hey,
look, awards are. Well, I was just gonna say, like, awards are great and all, of course, you know, and it's nice to be recognized, but you know, at the end of the day, you know, they're just awards, and you know, it's nice, but I think at the end of the day, we got to remember though, it's all about the rums, right?
Yeah.
This whole thing was an exercise about this diversity in rum, really celebrating that, and you know, for me, I think you guys are doing what you're doing. You're podcasting because of rum. I'm making videos because of the rum. We drink because of rum, and I think that is so awesome. So with that in mind, I want to thank a couple of rums, if I could, because these are rums that I want to thank, because without them, I wouldn't be here today. Well, I'd be here, but I wouldn't be the winner. I wouldn't be the winner. So I feel like I need to recognize El Dorado, Port Morant, Cask Strength, spectacular rum. I don't care what everyone else thinks of you. I think you are fantastic. I think it really goes to show you that Port Morant is the still and the rum of the people, frankly.
That's true.
Right?
That's true.
Hamden 8-year, I'd like to thank you. You are a modern day classic, you know.
Yes.
I think, you're not as flashy as HLCF or DOK, but I think you're far more drinkable.
Yes.
And yeah, I do wish you were a little cheaper, but you know what? I think you're worth it, and so am I. You know, and I want to Holmes Key Ganderome. I apologize to you for doubting me. I really do. Clearly, you were a big part of the victory. So thank you. Nissan Elevate Savoie, you are a classy rum with a classy name, classy bottle. I mean, what more can you say?
Yes.
Yes. And am I being booted off with music? Okay, real quick. Denizens and Merchants Reserve. Look, I hate the new look. I don't like the new face look. Honey, it's not working for you at all. Please change. I mean, don't change the liquid inside, but you got to do something about the label. And look, for those rums that I selected that didn't win their categories, you're dead to me. I'm never drinking you again. Thank you. And that's me.
Yes. What a victory
well done.
speech.
Well done. Well done.
And to round things out quickly, I do want to say, I feel like it's fitting that Arminder won, because who created the best overall rum bar vote? It wasn't even close. 56.9% of the vote to Arminder. I will point out, 26.3% second place was me. Garbage. And then John, 16.9%.
It's garbage.
Bringing up the rear. Arminder also won best overall bench, 49% of the vote.
Did.
I got crushed there because of the budget crunch. 18% for me and 32.9% for John. We will publish these results in the show notes so you can see all the little pie charts and the percentages and everything if you want to get in there and make some advanced stats and that kind of thing. But one final thing, Arminder, before we let you go, we're going to do something that I would say, as a two-time Rumcast Fantasy Rum Draft champion, is long overdue, which we've never done before, and that is the presentation of an actual trophy.
Ooh.
Which, don't get your hopes up because I don't have the physical version of it yet. But what we will be
sending, it exists in our minds.
What we will be sending to you is a custom engraved Glencairn glass with Arminder Randhawa, the Rum Revival 2024 Rumcast Fantasy Rum Draft champion on it. It's going to have the little Rumcast logo on there. And I wanted to throw it to you right now. Optional, of course, but the opportunity is here. There is a line, a custom text third line where you can enter custom text. The first 2 lines have been taken up by your name and the Fantasy Rum Draft champion. But if there's something you would like to have entered on, some trash talk, I don't know, some affirmation for your team, and if you'd like to acknowledge the MVP of your picks, this is the space for you to do that. So what ideas are coming to you right now?
Boy, I mean, the first thing that came to mind, and most people who are watching this are going to get the reference, but we did a video for the patrons only, kind of like a pre-planning video, what we were going to do, like our thought process and what we were picking and all that. And I ended it with a recognition of the distance that we are, as someone who's on the West Coast, and you two might as well be the East Coast. So I think I would like the last line to be West Side.
There we go. All caps.
West Side win. Congrats, Arminder. I would also like to add that I'm excited that you won. I'm happy that you won. It's sad a little bit. I did want to win. I'm going to be honest, but I'm glad. And I know you think I think I know where everybody hopes I'm going with this. I'm glad that you were the winner, Arminder, because that means that Will did not get his 3-peats, and I will absolutely clap to that as well. So well done, Arminder. Congratulations. And Will, your dream will have to defer.
I will say, and this is going to sound like I'm coping, but my strategy this year was a little bit of a heat check just to see if I could do it. The 8 marks gambit, I knew it was going to be a budget challenge, but I wanted to dream the impossible dream, and I came up short. But I'm never going to apologize for reaching for the stars, because if you do it often enough, you just might grab one. So I did want to ask, John, this is a question for both you and I. Any biggest regrets from our strategies? Do you have one?
Rivers probably did not pay off like I wanted it to. I think that's probably the biggest one for me. I really felt like it was a strong pick. Maybe I misused it. Maybe I could have put it somewhere else. But you kind of boxed me in, because I could have put it in Unaged, but it wasn't going to beat the Hampton Marks.
Yeah.
So well done there. And I think that's probably the biggest regret for me.
Yeah, I think for me, it's probably going to be... I had too much 80 proof rum in my bar, and I think that's a big reason of what held me back. I didn't even realize it until I was going over my picks at the end. I was like looking at each one. I was like, 80 proof, shit. 80 proof, shit. 80. I had like 5 80 proof rums in my bar, and I think it was a byproduct of the budget crunch.
Yeah.
I stand by all the 80 proof rums that I picked. I think they're all really good 80 proof rums, but we do know that 80 proof rum has its limitations, and I think that's what I ran up against a little bit. But as you said, this isn't the time for trying to make excuses. This is the time to give it up for Arminder. Everyone, go follow the Rum Revival on YouTube, Instagram, all the places. We'll put all the places in the show notes. It was wonderful having a third person. I feel like half the comments we got on the episode was, this was so much fun having a third person, particularly Arminder. Arminder's awesome. So, Arminder, I think if you're open to it, there has to be a title defense, I think. That's just so, if you're open to coming back 2025, we would love to have you.
I would love that. Let's do it.
All right. Well, everyone, thank you to everyone who participated, who voted. It's one of our favorite things we do every year. And on top of just being a fun, nerdy little competition, I think it's kind of like a snapshot of what rum geeks are buying, and probably like particularly with a U.S. focus. Maybe we got a few comments from international listeners, like pushing a little bit to do an international store, which we have looked at international options there for various reasons. We haven't gone with one yet, but it's on the menu of options for next year. We'll see what we come up with store wise. But I think it's a great snapshot of just like what rum fans are into. I look forward to this is like the nerdiest thing ever, but 10 years from now, I think it'll be fun to listen back to these and be like, oh my God, remember when those rums were big, or like that kind of thing. So it's a little snapshot of the rum world, but it wouldn't be the same without everyone participating, getting, the trash talk in the comments, the voting and everything. So shout out to all the listeners. Thank you so much for listening and participating.
And for voting. Arminder, you already said it, but just to say it from all three of us, thank you so much for participating and taking a vote in this, and really just, listening to this crazy thing that we came up with that is, it seems like it's fun for everybody as much to listen to as it is to participate, and we're really thankful of that. We didn't get to talk about all the comments. There was a ton of great comments that we didn't get to mention, but really appreciate those also. So
Yeah, some great ideas were submitted for future drafts, so we'll definitely probably be implementing some of that stuff. But yeah, all right.
Thanks so much for having me, guys. Really appreciate it. This was a blast. All the work leading into it, doing this particular episode. Thank you so much. That was a blast.
Absolutely, it was a pleasure to have you. Thanks everyone for listening. We'll be back soon.
Cheers.
Bye.
The signature sign. That's your signature sign off on the show now.